Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Khairunisa binti Jeffrey. My matric number is 2021107133.
Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Syuhada binti Baharudin. I am from KBA 2505A and my matrix number is 2021106077.
So I will start first with the introduction. So the first chosen article is record keeping and disaster management in public sector institution in Ghana, which is published by Harry Akusa and Adam Musa. The purpose of this study is to examine the disaster management procedure and measure adopted by public institutions in managing their information resources with a view to identifying possible problems and making recommendation for their solution. The second article is a records management and performance of procurement management units in Tanzania, a case study written by Merdesai Chrysostometo. This paper aims to examine the influence of records management on the performance of procurement management units in Tanzania. Third article is about e-records management practices in public universities, which is a developing country perspective and composed by Aubrey Harvey Chaputula. This study aims to investigate the management of electronic records, which is e-records, in public universities in Malawi. And last but not least is a medical records management framework to support public healthcare services in Limpopo province of South Africa, which is published by Ngoko Solomon Maruta and Fo Ngopi. This study aims to develop a framework for the management of medical records in support of healthcare service delivery in the hospitals in the Limpopo province of South Africa.
Next, I will continue with the similarities. There are two similarities found in the articles, and one of them is number 1, the less exposure of records management put the organization in high risk position and unable to develop. The first similarities are demonstrated by two articles, Record Keeping and Disaster Management in Public Sector Institution in Ghana and E-Record Management Practices in Public Universities, a Developing Country Perspective. Record management will reduce the danger of disaster management in institutions like public sectors or universities. As in Article 1, it can be seen that the absence of coordination between the leaders of public sector organization resulted in a high level of organizational unpreparedness to manage crises involving public records for the 19 ministries surveyed. As per Article 2, there were several topics that electronic record was unable to address because of the unavoidable circumstances. Thus, they represented some areas where e-record may perhaps develop in Malawi's public universities. Number 2 is to improve organization performance by maintaining record management. A second area of similarity between the articles, record management and performance of procurement management units in Tanzania, a case study, and medical records management framework to support public healthcare services in Limpopo province of South Africa, is that they both demonstrate the role records management plays in enhancing the performance of the industry. The success of Tanzania's procurement management units, PMUs, is said to be greatly impacted by record management, as stated in Article 2 of this. The same is truly the case for Article 4, which found that proper record management practices will contribute to improving public healthcare institutions after creating a framework for the management of medical records in support of the provision of healthcare services in hospitals in South Africa, Limpopo province. Next point is differences. There are two differences in the article, which is number 1, different in method used. The data gathered for articles in a variety of ways. The method adopted for Articles 1 and Article 4 is to distribute questionnaires and collect observation from various categories of respondents. 95 respondents from 19 ministries and 5 respondents, each from Public Records and Archive Administration Department (PRAAD) and the National Disaster Management Organisation, make up the data gathered in Article 1, first section of NEDMO, while the other article gathered information from 40 hospitals in the province of Limpopo. Out of a total population of 622 people, or 49%, 306 record management officials were chosen as the sample. The gathered information was subsequently examined and subjected to descriptive statistic analysis. In regard to Article 2, a cross-sectional survey was carried out and quantitative methods were employed for the data collection and analysis. Descriptive statistics were employed to conduct a preliminary analysis of the data, and structural equation modeling was then applied to examine how record management standards affected the effectiveness of the procurement. The information was gathered from 164 Tanzanian government PMUs. In contrast to Article 2, Article 3 followed a case study research design that mostly utilized qualitative research techniques. The data were gathered at Mzuzu University, Malawi University of Science and Technology, and Malawi University of Commerce and Applied Science, 3 study locations. Next point is the different objective in research. The objective discovered in the 4 publications under study varied. The goal of Article 1 of Record Keeping and Disaster Management in Public Sector Institution in Ghana is to examine the disaster management practices and policies adopted by the public institution in managing their information resources with a view to spotting potential issues and offering suggestions for their resolution. The purpose of this research is to analyze the impact of record management on the performance of procurement management units (PMUs) in Tanzania. While the article of record management and performance of procurement management units in Tanzania, a case study, focuses on the opposite. In addition, the essay of e-record management practices in public universities, a developing country's perspective primary goal, is to look into how public universities in Malawi maintain their electronic records or e-records. The article's goals are summarized in its framework for medical record management, which will help the public healthcare services in South Africa Limpopo province. The goal of this project is to provide a framework for the administration of medical records in support of the provision of healthcare services in the hospital of the South African province of Limpopo.
So for the conclusion is, generally, it seems that everybody understood how important records management is. On the other hand, it was found that many firms lack internal expertise of records management and carry out their record management activities carelessly. Records management strategies also were shown to have a weak link with a company's size and industry, but to be positively associated with this formal organizational structure. The majority of businesses, on the other hand, avoided information overload and did not express complaints about a lack information. And the organization also did not identify information overload or lack of information as the problems. The utilization of internal data may be improved through it was ranked as the 3rd most crucial area for change in firms after management and training. Consideration should be given to several categories of recommendations. In addition to technology, organization which is SME must invest in risk assessment, policy development, training management practices, and the others activities. Then, records keeping system should adhere to national and international standards, best practices for electronic records keeping, and legal and also administrative obligations. All businesses records should only be created, captured, and deleted by authorized individuals. Small company units must make sure that the data are retained because decision making relies on them being accurate and throughout. This can be achieved by enrolling in a brief course on record keeping and employing staff who are informed and skilled in accounting record keeping. I think that's all for our presentation. Thank you and Assalamualaikum.